Up, y'all? Reintroducing the channel, um, Six Figure Trucking. I wanted to just kind of briefly touch on a couple things and the reason why I started this channel. I started this channel a couple years ago. Actually, I just didn't really post any videos because I was trying to get out of the trucking industry. Truth be told, and it was tough. It was tough. A lot has happened since then. Since I initially started, the ELD mandate went into place. Um, and the industry last year, 2018, it was really good. This year, it's been kind of questionable. But a couple of things that I learned this year, as it relates to the trucking industry, that will help anybody really take their financial situation to the next level. And I'll be sharing some of those things, but mainly just you have to know what you're going to be up against in the trucking industry. If you're looking to get in the trucking industry right now, you need to know what the worst case scenarios could be. What's the possible worst case scenarios? How you're going to make money? How you're going to save money? Whether it be on tires, parts, on all kinds of different things. You need to know what you're going to be up against. You need to get in touch with drivers. You need to ask questions. You need to know different things that may really bankrupt your whole situation. It may literally like wipe your whole situation completely out because trucking is a very high expense business. It has a lot of liabilities to maintain and to run a trucking company. So it's very important to know what it's going to take to make your business prosperous, to be prosperous in this business. For years and years and years, I didn't really know how to run a trucking company. I knew how to drive. I knew how to get out there and hustle. I knew how to get money and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't know how to run a business. Now I know how to run a business. You know what I mean? Like now I've learned how to run a business. So just a little brief kind of history on me. My name is R. Anthony, Coach R. Anthony on Relationships and Chill. You can check us out on our YouTube channel. You can also check it out on Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. It's Relationships And Chill, and the website is relationshipsandchill.com. If you want to check that out, we talk about relationships, how to maintain a love life, especially with being on the road. We talk about how to maintain a love life, how to, basically how to have a relationship, how to develop and keep a relationship and make it grow and make it prosper and actually have somebody with you that benefits you. Now, enough about that. Um, what a little bit about me. I started off driving in 2005. Before that, I was a mortgage broker. I did mortgages for a little company out of Kennesaw, Georgia. And a guy was in there. He would come in periodically, and he would, he bought real estate and stuff like that. But every time he came, they would give him a check for like 30,000, 60,000. You know what I mean? Like he was just constantly buying and flipping houses and stuff like that. And just constantly on the move. And so I really was like, man, like I didn't know it was like that in trucking, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand what it took to get that. So it took me a lot longer than it should have. But nevertheless, I started off with Snyder back in '05, and I started off at 23, so I started really young in this industry. And to be honest, I think Snyder has the best trucking school experience because they take you from beginner to full-fledged driver all in-house. They didn't have any outside hire. Now I don't know how they do it now, but I know back then that's how they did it. And um, so from there I went to FFE because I wanted to be a owner operator. So I went over there, leased one of their horrible trucks. The truck was so horrible it wouldn't even turn off. I couldn't even get it to turn off. That's how bad it was. If it turned off, it would not crank back up. So I had to spend a lot of money on fuel because all the expenses were on me. So nevertheless, I worked with them for about 3 months. I don't think I really made any money with them. I may have made like the first 2 weeks, when you lease, purchase or whatever. They give you like 2 months or 2 weeks to start making money without any expenses, without any fixed expenses. You pay for your fuel and stuff like that, but without any fixed expenses, you're allowed to run for a couple weeks. So I did that, and it didn't go well. I didn't make no more money since after that. After the first week or two that they give you, I didn't make any more money. Um, then from there, I went to Heartland Express. Um, and with Heartland Express, yeah, I had a situation that got me fired there. You know what I mean? I was working with them. I was home every weekend. I was late on a lot of them loads because I didn't understand how the business worked and how the industry worked. So I was late on a lot of loads back then. And so they kept me for a little while, and then I guess the final straw was when I was supposed to get home on the weekend because I was home every weekend. They guaranteed you like being home every weekend, and if you went to like certain areas, which is one thing I really liked about them with Heartland Express, is if you go to certain areas, they give you like a pay increase. They give you like a 5 cent, 10 cent, or something like that pay increase for being in certain areas that are high traffic or high whatever areas. And so, um, I made decent money with them. The straw that broke the camel's back, I guess, was when I was supposed to get home on the weekend. I lived at the time in Atlanta. It was a load I was supposed to pick up out of Augusta, which is like 150 miles away, which now I live in Augusta. But before, at that time, I did not live in Augusta. My family did. But I was trying to get back home because my woman at the time, we had something that we had been planning for like a couple of weeks. So I told her I would not miss it. And so I went to go pick up the load that was supposed to get me home that night on a Friday night. I knew it wasn't gonna be nothing else after that on a Friday night. I went to go pick it up, and they told me that the load had already been taken. Somebody had already picked that load number up. And so I sat there and waited for about 2 hours. I called the company and let them know what was going on, and told them I had to get back home, and didn't hear anything. It was getting later and later and later. And so it was probably about 7 o'clock, about 6, 7, 8 o'clock. I had to be there, I think like at 9 o'clock for the event. And so I was like, man, I'm about to go home. I'm about to just deadhead, you know, down there. So I went ahead and deadheaded down there 150 miles to get back home. And I dropped the trailer or whatever. And that Monday or Tuesday, they called me in and was like, hey, buddy, you weren't supposed to do that. I was like, but y'all told me I could be home. But yeah, but you're not supposed to deadhead home. I was like, well, so they let me go. All right, cool, whatever. Then I go to, I can't think of the name, something of Mississippi, something Carriers of Mississippi or something like that. Anyway, they're out of like Jackson, Mississippi. They're the ones that have the red trucks, and so I was working with them for a while. Now, I can't think of their name for some reason, but I know there's a reason why I can't think of their name because I think the reason is them folks lied to me. They told me, the recruiter told me, hey, it's gonna be 40 cents. You're gonna make 40 cents per mile here, because you got like 3 years of experience at that time, and so you start off with this, right? So I get there, and I was like, yeah, the recruiter told me I was gonna be making 40 cents a mile. They're like, no, you're gonna be making 32 cents a mile. Now I already went from Georgia to Mississippi, and they was like, but we're gonna run you hard, so you're gonna make a lot of money. Woo, woo. I was like, man, y'all told me this. But I ended up staying. So I ended up staying. And I hustled up my money, got my money together, because I had lost a lot of money during these different job experiences. And I went and saved up my money, and then I went over to Swift. I joined their lease purchase program. I had a buddy over there that was making really good money, that I had met when I was working with Snyder. He was working with Swift at the time, but I didn't really know him. We just kind of talked at one of the places that we were at. We still really good friends to this day. But nevertheless, he was telling me how well you can do if you join their trainer program. Like if you become a trainer over there, then you'll get paid, a good amount of money. He was showing me these pay stubs and settlement accounts, settlement stubs, and all that kind of stuff, right? So I was like, okay, I was impressed. So I went on ahead, stacked up. I had my money stacked up. It was like $2,500 down. I had to send in. It was an interesting time, but nevertheless, I sent in. I got my truck. I put the money up, got my truck. Had to go to Columbus, Ohio, and for 30 days with Swift at the time, you cannot just come in and start training. You have to drive for 30 days for them in order to become eligible to be a trainer. So I went on ahead and did that for 30 days, and then boom, after that, I was well. After that, I was about to quit. That's what it was. I called my homeboy. I said, "Hey man, I know came over here. I'm sitting. I've been sitting for like 3 days trying to get a load. They only gave me like a little short loads, man. I'm regretting this whole thing." He was like, "Man, just be patient. Give it a little time, and it'll start to pan out." So I gave it a little time. Started training, and then I was killing it. I think I had my best year in '08 as a lease purchase. I made like $223,000 that year. So I was doing really good until like '09 when the freight went terribly down south. I had a student with me, and we couldn't even get a team load for Swift, and that's how bad it was. Like we sat for a week, couldn't get a load, and so I was like, man, forget this, I'm out of here. So I went over to because by that time he had left, and he was telling me about CRST. So I went on ahead and went over to CRST too and started training there too. And I made pretty good money. I trained for 2 years at Swift, and I trained for 2 years at CRST. And then I left CRST and went to I think I went to Risinger. Yeah, I went to Risinger out of Illinois, and that was a crazy situation. I didn't stay there long. And did their lease purchase program. Then I went to Stan Cook and Sons. I was there for maybe 8 9 months. It's just one of those things that I once you start to understand how the lease purchase program stuff works, you don't want to stay there long. So it's me bouncing from lease purchase to lease purchase to lease purchase because I started to understand like about how the whole system works. Now you can be successful in it. It can work, but you just gotta know how to make it work. Same thing with company driver. You start off with if you're starting off as a company driver, I'll have to get more into what you can do. But a lease purchase is one of those things that you hear a lot of people saying is you shouldn't do it. Some people say you should do it. Whoop de woo. So after I left Stan Cook and Sons, I went to Celadon. Celadon was a really good company. Their lease purchase program, at least at that time around 2011, 2012, was pretty good actually. And so I dang these people crazy. People up here in North Carolina they don't know how to drive. So I Celadon was pretty good back then. I leased one of their trucks, and I would have probably stayed with them for a little bit longer, but I have decided to just go ahead and buy my own truck and then bring it on over because I was ready to move up to the next phase. So I went on ahead and bought me a truck, brought it over to Celadon, and was making really good money then. So from there I went from Celadon to where I am currently with this company, Mag Carriers. I stayed at Mag for about a year and a half, year and some change. And I bought my own trailer and got my own authority and all that kind of stuff, right? So I got my own trailer, got my own authority. Um, it worked really good. That was in 2015. It worked really good until like I decided to hire a driver, right? So like in early 2017, I hired a driver, one of my previous students that I had trained over at Swift. And so I trained him, and we kept in contact over the years. And I spotted him one day, and I told him what was going on and what I was trying to do. So he came on over. I hired him, and he drove for me for a while. I bought another truck. I bought my second truck from an old guy that I met at Cook. He had a stroke and he couldn't drive anymore, so ended up buying that truck for like 5,500. But I didn't know all the problems that was going on with it. So my driver drove it, and there was a few problems, which we would fix here and there whenever a problem arose. But the motor went out, so it needed an end frame. I didn't have the money for the end frame, so I put the driver in my truck, the main truck, because I had to have surgery. I had to have surgery that year for some scar tissue that had developed on my urethra. So that had me out of commission for some months, trying to rehab, recoup, and regroup and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, he got into an accident, and trying to pay him and do all this, pay my bills, pay all this stuff with one truck is pretty. It stretches you pretty thin. So I ended up losing my insurance. So I had to go back with Mag, um, which is where I'm at currently. So from here is really just me rebuilding everything, rebuilding what I started, and really just focusing in on getting better and newer equipment. That's the main thing. That was like the main thing that I learned during my time, um, just managing my money better and buying better equipment. Those are the two main things for me specifically that I needed to do better. Um, and from here on out, it's just me sharing information to hopefully help you guys progress in your journey or in your career in the trucking transportation industry. There's a lot of things that you can do in this industry. There's a lot of freedom, there's a lot of flexibility, but you got to know what you're doing, because if not, you'll waste time, you'll spend time doing things that you don't need to do. And so that's why I created this channel. That's the purpose of this channel, is to show you guys how to become successful as best as I can, give you any advice I can give you that'll help you succeed a lot faster than I did. And it took me. It took me 14 years to get to this point, to where now I can finally see how everything works. I can finally see how the numbers work. I can finally see how to generate a lot of income in this industry, and most importantly, how to keep a lot of income from this industry. Because, like I said, like I always say, you get caught up in the trucking vortex. You spending money, spending time at Walmart, spending money at Walmart, you spending money at TA and the Iron Skillet and Country Pride and all those places like that. You'll look back over your settlement and like wonder where did all the money go, and you've been out on the road and you really don't have nothing to show for it, and that's really sad for truckers. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. You guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video. If you got anything out of this video, if I've helped you at all in this video, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe and continue to check us out. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. You guys take it easy. Be safe out on the road. Peace.